So last Tuesday, Gavin Newsom, California's governor, signed a $7.6 billion coronavirus relief package. It plans to provide at least $600 as one-time payments to close to 6 million Californians. Today on the Tonic Accord, I'm just going to catch you guys up on what's happening in here and why it could be important. So, hey everybody, Alex Kapitko here. I hope you're doing okay. It's Sunday here, so I just want to do a quick little Sunday Tonic Accord. And I think that finally, both kind of metaphorically and literally, there is kind of an end of the winter. Winter is coming to an end. It's getting a little bit warmer up here in Northern California. The light is getting longer, and in terms of COVID, the vaccination program is getting better. More and more people are getting vaccinated. Now we have a third vaccine, the Johnson & Johnson one, and there's definitely a light at the end of the tunnel. So I've been trying to be a little more rosy lately after a very strange and kind of depressing year. But anyways, today I just want to do a quick episode on California. And I'm not really going to be taking much of a stance on this topic, but I just wanted to touch on it and why I think it's a good example of how states can test out different procedures and approaches to kind of complicated political issues that maybe are different in each state. You know what I mean? So according to the article out of CBS News, where I kind of got a background on the specifics here, this bill is looking to give at least $600 as one-term payments to exactly 5.7 million Californians, not Americans. And also it's looking to set aside $2 billion with a B in grants for struggling small businesses. And it kind of seems like the rationale here is that California needs help and the federal stimulus or relief package is still being delayed. And honestly, this is a whole other topic, but I think in some ways this isn't a good look for Biden because he promised, in the first few weeks of his presidency to get these checks out. And now we're in March and states like California have pretty high unemployment right now and people want help. So California's kind of beating around the bush here and doing their own thing. And anyways, a few more details here before I go more into my analysis. The small business grants that were passed last week, they were actually part of, I believe it was a $500 million relief that was set aside back in November, and Gavin Newsom used his emergency powers to do so. And from what I've seen, the program back in November that put $500 million towards small businesses was quite popular. And in the first round of funding, something like over 300,000 applicants, and there was about 4.4 billion in requests. And so again, that's according to CBS News. And it sounds like this first round for small businesses was helpful, but definitely not enough. And of course, this program, this new one that was signed into law last Tuesday, it looks like it's giving priority to business owners who are owned by women, minorities, and areas with high unemployment. I don't know if this is a great time to get very identity focused in this. I do agree with especially high unemployment areas to put more relief there, but I don't know right now if focusing on women and minorities is the best way to go about this, but that's a whole other topic and I'm not going to go down that right now. So now moving on to the individual payment side. So the $600 payments will basically be able to be accessed when the California citizens claim the income tax credit on their tax returns. So I would imagine that's probably going to start rolling out maybe in the next month, hopefully sooner than that. But again, these things are not always fast, as clearly we've seen with the stimulus and now this new relief on the federal level. And also this is going to be going to people making $30,000 a year or less. And to me, this sounds pretty warranted because according to the Unemployment Development Department of California, California's unemployment increased about 1% since November, and this is actually after they saw a pretty good spike in employment. But of course, November, December, and into January was kind of where we saw that horrible period of the pandemic, highest numbers. And I think, according to the Development Department of California, this was the first increase in month-over-month unemployment since April, and employers lost 52,000 non-farm payroll jobs. So seriously, unemployment is still a major factor in California right now. So I think it's a good idea. And again, like I've been saying for months, we don't need a stimulus. We need relief to people who need it to at least get over the hump until the economy really starts opening up again. And I think that's what they're trying to do here. So I support it. I don't like to get into the nitty gritty on this because people need help right now. And I think this is the right thing to do. And, last week, Drew and I talked about how Californians have kind of seen the worst of everything involving COVID. Businesses have been closed. Even outdoor dining has been closed for a while. Pretty much everything from gyms to just outdoor activities have been limited. So, cases have also spiked. So it's not like California has seen dramatically lower numbers than states that have stayed open. So yeah, California has not seen any best of both worlds scenario here. So I can understand why we're just trying to get something going here. And I also think this is interesting for a range of reasons, mainly because I think this highlights the idea that states can conduct their own stimulus or other policies. They can lead the way when the federal government is bogged down, especially right now with all the partisan division. Like, nothing's getting done. And I think it's good that states have the option to do this on their own. They can just lead the way here. And yeah, so I think this might even kind of lead the way in maybe other states looking. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions too is that I think a lot of people think that California is just completely broke, especially after the last year. Businesses shut down, bad national economy, pandemic, especially, Fox News doesn't help with their takes on, homelessness, cancel culture, San Francisco full of trash and needles and all that stuff, unemployment, closures of small businesses. And I do agree that there's some serious issues with that stuff. So don't think I'm supporting kind of what California has become in some ways. But according to Politico, it's actually kind of interesting. Gavin Newsom on Friday unveiled a record $227 billion spending plan. And sorry, this is back in January. The article's from January, so it says on Friday. And so this is kind of interesting because I think there was a lot of fear over the summer that the state would just fall off a financial cliff, right? But actually, it's surprising. But the truth is that the wealthy in California did amazing this year. The stock market did amazing this year. Obviously, Silicon Valley's done quite well this year. And so I think both of these combine to at least keep California afloat. So, they're still getting tax revenue. Even if average people are suffering, California was still able to bring in a lot of money. And also, capital gains taxes are probably one of the main ways California brought in money. Capital gains, just to clarify, are an economic concept basically as you tax people on the profit earned on the sale of an asset when it's increased. So say you buy a house in the 70s, obviously the price of that house is increased, so the tax is going to be off the difference of that or something. So it's like, this could be anything from property to a car to a business or, even things such as shares. And so for people that are wealthier, either through the stock market or property or other types of assets that can be taxable, California is still getting a lot of money on here. And Forbes has a good article that discusses how California has one of the highest capital gains taxes in the U.S. And it goes on to talk about how this just, kind of correlates with the high cost of living in California. And California also taxes all capital gains as income, which is different from the federal government, in which it differentiates between long-term capital gains and short-term capital gains. So basically, yeah, California's been able to still make money because affluent people are doing well and the stock market's doing well. And this kind of takes me to my kind of last take here is that, unfortunately, this does highlight, I think, that California is slowly becoming a state for kind of two groups, the uber rich and the uber poor. The middle class has not either been doing well or are quite frankly leaving the state. And the budget and now stimulus show that, they can keep the budgets alive even when a small percent is doing well. And so this is actually kind of leading to true, redistribution at a state level. And I don't know how I feel about it again, but it's interesting. And I think at least it shows that the state is trying to figure out ways to maybe try to even the playing field a little bit because of just the disparity of wealth in California. And I'm sure if you're wealthy, you don't like what I'm saying here, but I think the state would be a lot worse off if they didn't have some of these apparatuses like high capital gains tax and other taxes to at least try to help these people. So, there's definitely a big exodus from California right now, but at least California is trying to do their best. And so I just wanted to catch you guys up on this. It's going to be interesting to see. Are you going to be getting a $600 stimulus check or are you not? Check it out online, see if you qualify. And if you do, make sure and request that on your tax returns. So take care, everyone, and we'll be back next week with a fun interview and kind of a look into what's all the craziness going on in the world. So take care.